Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle Visionaries, Healers, Movers, and Shakers, where I get to interview and have conversations with people who are creating change, who are living the life of their dreams, bringing beautiful things to the world. And uh, what I love, well, y'all know I love doing this. I've been doing this for like 6 or 7 years now. And I'm Paulette Rees-Denis, by the way. If you are new, I am your lifestyle coach for creatives. I am an author. I run a global dance company. I'm a poet. And like I said, I've been doing this podcast for going on 7 years. And it's just been illuminating. I get to talk with people all around the world. Lots of different ways of living, lots of different things that people are bringing to the world. And again, like I said, creating change and stepping into their superpowers, which I love. And today I get you to meet Ramona Kossowan from Canada. And she's got some great stuff to share with us. We're on similar paths, yet different approaches, which I also totally love. And just a little bit about Ramona. She is Canada's first certified gentle trauma release practitioner. She's going to tell us all about that. Empowerment coach and nervous system healing. I am so curious about this. Midlife reinvention, which is a lot about what I do as well. And then, but I'm also curious about what you do with food. Since I'm a vegan chef, I love talking about food. So anyway, welcome, Ramona. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Paulette. We're gonna have some fun for sure.
Yeah, and I know I already look behind her. That's her office. I'm so jealous.
Yes, it's not a Zoom background, it is actually real.
Good. So good. So anyway, how are you, Ramona?
I'm doing great, doing
I'm so
great.
glad. And you said you're in Edmonton,
So I'm in Alberta, Canada. So
Alberta.
Alberta is my province, and I'm the closest city, if you're familiar with Canada, is Calgary.
Okay. Is that's central, right?
Yeah, like it's like a little bit southern Alberta, but
Okay.
Edmonton is north of me. And that's where I was born, actually.
Okay, because I've taught in Edmonton before.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's been a long
definitely
time.
been there.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
I've been to Canada a couple of times teaching belly dance, and so anyway, so good. So why don't you tell us what some of this stuff means and what you're doing?
Sure. Well, if you were to look at what's the big picture, right? Because it's hard to just spew out certifications. People are like, well, what does that mean for me, right? I don't know, right? So, overarching is I help women quite often in midlife um, to revitalize themselves in a deep way and fall in love with themselves again
Hmm.
and help them to move forward and write the next chapter because a lot of times we're in transition when we connect. So it's like, okay, how do I write this new chapter, become this new version of me without just repeating the past or kind of floating along and not knowing who I am? So I do really customize my work and we come up with a container together that supports what exactly they want my help with because not every woman signs up and says give me everything you've got, right? Maybe, but it's more about they might have something very specific that's on their mind and then we craft a container that will support that.
Cool. Okay. So, well, what was your journey to get to this point?
Well, it's just been, I think, small trajectory changes over time, right? So along the way, I've grown, had to do some own healing to show up as I am now. So I started out like as an entrepreneur, like 17 years ago, like when I was following my mother's footsteps, and she really broke some new ground an emerging entrepreneur in the herbal wellness industry and just helping people to feel empowered. And she impacted our family and people's lives. So I'm like, help me do that. But then I realized this isn't where I'm going to stay. And it kind of expanded into fitness. At one point, I coached a holistic weight loss program. So there's elements of the holistic all along the way. But what came up for me a lot was wanting to go a little deeper, because it's really important to me that my work has an impact and that I feel really confident in helping people more effectively,
Mhm.
right? Not just surface level crap, right? So when I learned about personal empowerment coach training, I was intrigued because I'm like, oh, this is interesting. We're working with the map of consciousness, the emotions, the identities. And that opened the door to present to me the opportunity to train in the gentle trauma release method when it was just emerging as a new online school. And that just lit me up. I had to go with it. It felt like such a strong yes. And I haven't looked back since then.
So is that similar to TRE? Do you know what TRE is?
I'm not sure what TRE is, so I couldn't
Well, it's a
answer that.
trauma release. Uh, I don't know that much about it, except that I have acquaintances that have studied it with globally and do a lot of it, trauma release, uh,
Mhm.
and use the body. Um, so anyway, why don't you tell us more about that?
Okay. Well, it's a holistic freestanding method. So if someone comes to me and we're just going to do gentle trauma release method, I really don't need to integrate anything else. It allows me to meet, it's mostly women, so I say women a lot, but men aren't excluded. Meet women where they're at to get underneath first what's anchoring the symptoms of trauma in the body, emotional, mental, and physical. So we have a way to kind of suss that out. And it starts out with more of a elegant and strategic way of working with the nervous system
Mm.
uh, to resolve what your body is still bracing for. So when your nervous system unconsciously feels that something is resolved, there's a cascade of changes that happen. And when we can do that to the extent that it's needed for a woman, depending on what the experiences are that are anchoring that, they aren't always huge, right? Everything changes. And then this also supports the next step, which is clearing the residue of trauma, the identity, the behavior, the lack of boundaries, the sense of self, the inner critic. That's all addressed. And the third part is still a little more coaching heavy, but still connected to the body all the way along, to emerge being able to maintain your well-being. So you're no longer trying to just fix yourself. You're not relying on someone or something in particular. And you can trust yourself to navigate life and be in the present. So those are all stages of the work together.
Hmm. Mm. I love that. And uh, I would imagine that most of this is done in person then.
Actually, it's all virtual.
Yeah. Oh, it's all virtual. Cool.
Yeah. The only thing I do in person is I have some fitness clients in my small town community, but everything else is virtual, which is kind of nice because then you're in your own comfortable space. You're not navigating traffic and parking and all those other things.
Yeah. Oh, all that stuff that we used to do.
Why would we do that, right?
I know. Now we don't have to leave our house, which is a blessing and also kind of a curse sometimes too. But um, so how nervous system? So, I mean, how did I don't know. Yeah, how did this come up for you?
Like, how did this, can you explain the question a bit more for me?
Yeah, how okay, so how did you figure out to dive deeper into the nervous system? I mean, I personally probably understand that, but if you could explain it to our people, uh, so it's not just the superficial coaching like what you were talking about.
No.
But how did you get there? Did you go through um, something that made you go, oh, yeah, I can, I'm healing myself through this system, and now I want to share it, or
Well, when I met the founder of the Gentle Trauma Release Institute, she was teaching in the empowerment school that I was attending. So
mm,
she was going through some of my practicum calls. And I said to her, I don't know how else I could have helped this woman. I didn't feel like the protocols I did were working. And so she helped me to understand how trauma shows up, what it looks like, and why those methods weren't effective for that person. And I was like, oh, so that helped me to look a bit more into this invitation to take this certification. And that's where the learning came from. It started with the training with the gentle trauma release method, which is based, like a lot of the foundational work, on the polyvagal theory. So working with the ventral vagus nerve strategically, not just regulating your nervous system. Like those are tools, but this is actually helping your body to resolve what is not resolved. So it's strategic and elegant and gentle. But as I went through the process of learning, understanding, and applying, that's how this learning came about.
Cool. That's so great. And okay, so along this journey, how long have you been doing this work?
6 years.
6 years. And what's been the hustle? What's been hard?
The hustle for me is just the being in the trenches of entrepreneurship sometimes. When I first emerged as this gentle trauma release practitioner, I was surrounded by people who were a little different than me. They communicated differently than me. Their experiences were different. Their personalities were different. And I was trying to think, like, do I have to let go of the other pieces that I am and just create something entirely new? And I finally evolved and came to the place, no, I don't. I will integrate everything that I am into what I do to the extent that it serves the whole thing and me as well. I like doing it, right? So I had to learn how to speak to people about trauma, because if I just speak about trauma, then people are either triggered and they run away, or they go, that can't be me. So I had to really learn about the how to speak about what I do and how to speak to what women are feeling is the problem versus speaking to the solution, which is gentle trauma release. All these different things, the solution remains the same, but it's how are people seeing the problem? That's what I had to learn, and that was not easy.
Mm-hmm. Right. You have to reach into what they're experiencing. Uh, but you would think that some of the solution, I mean, I guess the end product is kind of what they want to hear, right?
Well, they want to know they can get to the other side and experience this outcome.
Yeah.
But the bridge, I have to make sure that I'm speaking their own language, and not like scaring them off too much, because sometimes just talking directly about trauma, it's a little bit too triggering, or people assume that's only for worst case scenario, which is really not the truth.
I mean, we've all carry some sort of trauma in our body, right?
Yes, and sometimes people use that as a reason not to do anything because, well, we all have this, so I'll just carry on. But we have a resilience threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And when that threshold is surpassed, then we have a cascade of symptoms. And then we start working against the symptoms. But if we can get underneath it, a lot of that just resolves itself. So just because someone had it worse than you, or your experiences don't look shocking enough to be on Jerry Springer or something, does not mean you're not worthy of healing and get underneath it. Because a lot of that sneaky, insidious, under the radar, slow drip, never ending erosion of self-worth is also needing to be addressed.
Wow. Yeah. Being worthy to be healed, to step into taking care of oneself. Oh, okay. So now what about your relationship with food and healing?
So what I found is, like I mentioned, I used to coach a holistic weight loss program. This is before I had this other work going on. And it had many benefits. But what I found for some people, it actually made their problems worse, because dieting brings up all the trauma, right? Even if it's dieting with, it brings the trauma to the surface. And I'm not here to help women to feel more ashamed and guilty and beat up on themselves more. I'm not here for that. And I find it that women, there's some issues that come up where they don't feel worthy unconsciously, and they'll back off when they start to transform themselves in some way. They back off, or they can't make themselves a priority, and there's some boundary creep in there that they cannot establish that worthiness of being centered in their own lives, or the experiences they've had of body image and diet culture interwoven. So it becomes a hot mess that does not serve. So when I learned about this moderation 365 method, which is another certification I took through JillFit, I know, right? But it tied in with my values. Okay, so we've done some healing. You're emerging from the fog. we're not going to push you on a nervous system dysregulating diet and get you obsessing about food again. We're not about that. So I help women to establish that mindful, satisfied eating that's still moving them towards, the body they want to build, the body they want to live in, without the obsession and the guilt and the drama and the swinging back and forth between deprivation and binging.
Mm, mm. Wow, that's big. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's so good. And of course, uh, you know, I mean, through movement, through what I've done with dance and movement is helping women fall back in love with their bodies.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, no matter what size or age, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the style of dance that I do is a dance for every body. But getting women to look at themselves in the mirror and look at their beauty,
Yeah.
you know? And it's not like some people are like, I never look at myself in the mirror.
You're like, what? Or they say something hateful about themselves as they walk by the bars. Like, we're going to shut that down right now. We're not doing that anymore.
And so I've seen so much transformation with women who just, and you mentioned it early, and that's what I say too, is fall back in love with yourself.
Yeah. And remember, you're
And
amazing.
what has happened to society that there is all this trauma and all this self, putting oneself down and making fun of oneself and not putting ourselves first as women. I mean, women rule this place.
Well, I mean, obviously, we're the bringers of life and the matriarchs. There's many layers to this that we can unpack, of course. Um, a lot of the women I'm connecting with are midlife,
Mhm.
35, 65 sort of range, sometimes 70. And there's generational trauma baked in, right? And just what was considered normal and acceptable and expected is actually incredibly wounding. Um, and now I think just things have changed where we're getting more overstimulated. Uh, there's a lack of that village, so to speak, to support women, whether it's with young children or family connection and community connection. I think sometimes we don't have a village anymore. It's quite isolating with a lot of noise at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that's even online, sometimes that can be difficult, but it can also be breakthroughs developing an online community. But we need community.
Yeah.
I mean, we're human for one thing, but we want connection and we want to be seen and to be heard and to be connected. And I just love being able to bring women together um, to get that feeling, whether it's in person or online, and to get connected with their own bodies as well as in being in a supportive atmosphere of connecting with others.
Well, what you were saying kind of brought to mind, like when I was in the Dominican Republic quite a few years ago, I just remember seeing the women there dancing to the music, and they were in their bodies and swaying their hips, and they were not holding back. And it wasn't skinny ones with washboard abs. They had the curves and they had all the normal things that women of all ages experience. And they did not hold back. I'm like, that is sexy as heck, right? And sexy
Totally.
from a sensual point of view.
Mhm.
And I love that, like removing that inhibition of you need to look and earn the worth to just get out there and moving your body.
Oh. And to grow old with love.
Yeah.
I love getting older. I'm 68. I love it. And um, I love being a woman. I love being in my body. I have lots of wisdom and I show it. I carry it. And this the staying young craze. Shoot yourself up with this and do that and get this lifted. And it's just like, oh, you know, I show what I've lived. I think it's great. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just sometimes it horrifies me.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a lot we could unpack
I
there, but I think
know,
it's
I know.
just like worshiping the maiden phase. Like we should be able to enjoy and value all phases, and we're not less of a woman at different phases of life.
No, I
And
love being a crone.
doesn't always conjure up the best image, but it's more
But
about
it
the
should, but
energy,
it should,
right?
right? But it should. I mean, I've had
Yeah,
women say, "Oh, I don't like that word," and I'm like, "I love that word. Made me mother grown," you know. But it's almost like re-educating the public to the beauty of the word and the beauty of the age and the matriarch, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, yes, we could unpack a whole lot of
Of course.
things.
Yeah.
We don't have
Yeah.
that kind of time here, but I love all the things that you're doing and all the things you're talking about and what's been hard. And so, what do you do for yourself as an act of self-care?
Well, I did go through kind of like my over functioning stage as an entrepreneur. A lot of it was trauma showing up. It just fear of not doing enough, fear of not getting there fast enough, fear of not being as successful. Um, at some point, I did go through my own healing, like more intense healing phase. Um, but now I try to just tune in, right? So some of my pillars of self care is like I need to move my body. So I do strength training as part of my self care because it's to me, it's like a no brainer as I continue aging to keep my body powerful and strong and feel good in my body. But mentally, if
Mhm.
I feel like a bag of garbage and I'm beating up on myself and I'm just not in a good place, um, I will do a workout and I'm like, okay, clean that mess up along with that. So it reminds me of who I am.
Mhm.
Um, and if I don't have the capacity for a workout, I will do a walk. And I'm enjoying the longer days and the warmer weather at this time of year, like totally taking advantage of that. So
Absolutely.
walking, movement, or something that feels really juicy, right? So either like I like to even sit down with my coffee or tea and have a moment of either like sitting on the porch or watch like a reality TV show like they're house hunters and they're building a house on the beach or something. I like that. It's positive. It's not a bunch of violence and garbage, right? It's what makes me go, ah, and I lean into that.
Nice. Nice. I find that I am really getting into comedies these days.
What
Just,
kind of comedies?
well, I watch a lot of YouTube comedians.
Mm.
Like Michael McIntyre is freaking hilarious. He's like my favorite comedian right now. He's British. And but I don't watch a lot of television, but every now and then I'll get hooked into a TV show. Like I just started watching Shrinking.
Oh,
If
okay.
anybody's watched this, it's on Apple TV. It is freaking hilarious. It is, I cry, I laugh through the whole episode. It's about psychiatrists, very dysfunctional shrinks. Anyway, and I mean, that just brings so much pleasure to me to just be able to sit and laugh, you
For
know,
sure. Yeah. We
um,
need those little indulgences.
do that. And movement, of course, changing your state.
Yep.
Whenever
Yep.
you're feeling funky, just do something, move your body. I go
Yep.
out for walks every morning. I love working out. I teach dance and yoga, like I said.
Mhm.
Anything like that just shifts your energy.
Well, I like to think about it too because sometimes women are so used to trying to think their way out of things or think 45 steps ahead, which is often a trauma response because chaos feels intolerable. Um, but sometimes it's like, okay, just change your state and now revisit this thing. Because, like, for me, if I'm feeling the world is dumping on me, I feel like a piece of garbage, I'm not going to make a decision or create some content or communicate in any way with anyone. No, I'm going to come back to feeling like myself again, remember who I am,
Perfect.
and then see what lies have dissolved with that and what remains, right?
That's
Because quite
great.
often it's
That's
lies.
great. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
great. I really love that. And I think that's really important. Everybody, do you hear that? So, not good to make decisions or, change things if you're feeling funky. Uh,
No,
go to it from a place of feeling good and feeling secure and confident and clear and spending time. I'm a big proponent of journaling in the morning and meditation and movement. I'm out walking, I'm outside as much as I can be. Um, that to me is very healing. But,
yeah.
it's like get off the couch. You gotta, you gotta
Yeah.
move.
Up the screens, off the couch,
Mhm.
even away from others if there's too much noise and you just need to exist. Take away some of the inputs, and then
Quit
Never.
scrolling.
Yeah, and just don't assume that any ideas or thoughts coming at you when you're in that low energy state are true. They're all lies. We're literally almost always lies from the inner critic and whatever else is showing up. So when we can dismantle that, like that's part of the work I do is the residue of trauma because the inner critic can be pretty harsh.
Ooh, I
Um,
love this.
yeah, so we dismantle that as part of the healing process.
That's perfect. That's really great. So good. Wow. Okay, you guys, you heard that. Now, if you have any questions for Ramona or for me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll put all of her information in the blog post, of course, as always. And Ramona, thank you for doing the work you're doing and, following, it sounds like, your mother was a great influence and you've been following in her footsteps yet in a different path, your path.
Yeah, like she lit my eyes up to what's possible when the odds are stacked against you. And also kind of lit up that entrepreneurial spirit with me. I think I'm literally unemployable at this point. I just
I
love,
know.
even though I maybe should have a job. And it helped me to see what's possible and light the way. And then I'm now, forging, of course, a path that's more authentic to me.
Good. That's beautiful. Gotta love what you do. You
Yeah.
gotta love and the what you're contributing, what you're helping create in the world. Uh,
Yeah, and it energizes me too. So it's a win-win.
cool. That's great. All right, Ramona, thank you so much.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Great to meet you. Great to share you with everyone. And everyone out in Heart Hustle Land, thank you for sharing yet another episode with me. And I will see you next time around until we meet again. Many blessings.